Hi guys, welcome to SilverSilk and More. I am Sara Ellis and I am here as your guest designer for tonight. And we have a really fun project tonight, you guys. But before we get to that fun project, let's talk just for a second. Just a little reminder, in case you guys have forgotten from Tuesday, the Atlantis mystery kits are out, you guys. They come in a deluxe, Aphrodite, Neptune, and last but not least is Siren. And you can also get some pieces of capture chain right there in that whole little area on silversilkonline.com to add to it. So if you guys are feeling the underwater theme, I cannot wait to see it myself. I am all about all underwater, mermaidy, underwater city, all of that goodness to me. It just kind of reminds me that springtime is upon us and summertime is just right around the corner, and I'm looking forward to it. So if you are also feeling that whole vibe, then definitely check out the Atlantis mystery kits. You know how Neely does. He does amazing stuff. He can put together color palettes and themes like nobody's business. So I cannot wait to see these, you guys. Don't forget about those. So go check those out. And while you are checking out the Atlantis theme, also you want to check out, and this is in the description of this project for tonight, you want to check out Rockstar Capture Chain, because that's what we're using tonight. So from one extreme to the other, we're going from Atlantis to Rockstar Goddess, right? So tonight we are using Rockstar Capture Chain. I love this stuff, you guys. It really does kind of scream Rockstar. And we're going to be using some hematite colors, some dark rhodium colors to go with this, and everything except the beads. Well, and the chain. I am using a little bit of hematite chain to go with this, but as far as the findings are concerned, all of this is available on silversilkonline.com. Okay, so the end caps, the 2-hole slider that I'm going to use, all the way down to the ear wires, all of this is available on silversilkonline.com. Excluding the beads and, like I said, some of the extra little chain that we're going to be using. But we're going to do two things tonight. We're going to create a necklace project, and we're going to create some earrings. The earrings have a little bit of the herringbone wire wrapping in them, so I think that's where we're going to start. Start kind of with the hardest first, and then put together this really awesome necklace to go with it. So you have like this whole set. It's going to be really awesome. And I think that's it. Let's get to it, right? Let's get down to it. Everybody's ready to see what we've got going on tonight. So let me show you guys the capture chain first so that you can get an idea of what it looks like. So this stuff, oh, it's awesome, right? So this is like black capture chain, and it also has that dark ball chain on the inside, but it does have like that hint of sparkle to it, which is what that ball chain does inside there, right? It just catches the light. This is like straight up rock goddess. That's all I can think about when I see this stuff. So this was named very, very well, in my opinion, because this really does. I'm definitely channeling my inner rock star. Always wanted to be a rock star when I was a kid. Never. I clearly ended up doing something very, very different, right? So we're going to use some of this for the necklace, and we're going to use some of this for the earrings as well. Let me adjust the lights just a little bit here so we can see. All right, how's that looking, you guys? That look okay? I feel like it's a little dark in here, but... So you're going to need 3 pieces of this. 2 of the pieces are going to be short pieces. Those are for the earrings, and then you need to keep yourself a long piece. The long piece for the necklace is really going to kind of depend on how long you want your necklace to be. Mine is around 24 inches, so I'm keeping mine nice and long. I love a long tassel necklace, and so that's what I've got. I'm going to sit this to the side though, because we are going to start with the earrings. So for the earrings, you're going to need some of the exact same Rockstar Capture Chain, but you're only going to need about a 3-inch piece of this, okay? So go ahead and get yourself a 3-inch piece of this, and then we are using this really beautiful black faceted diamond-shaped bead. But let me tell you, you can do this with any shape, any size bead that you want, okay? This just happens to be what I... Neely says, you are a beading rock star. I guess I am. I'll take that. I'll take that, right? It's not as good as my, you know, my dreams of playing guitar, but that's okay. Using these fingers for jewelry. All right, so I'm using this guy for this, but like I said, you can use any bead that you want for this, and you're going to use one of these. Look at these. Oh my gosh. So this is part of the findings, the really awesome crystal findings that are available on silversilkonline.com. So this is a 3-hole spacer, or a 3-hole end cap rather. It's not a spacer. So you can fit 3 strands of your capture chain if you want to into this, but what we're going to do is we're going to put our capture chain on either side, and we're actually going to put our wrapped loop on the inside of this in that middle hole, okay? So yeah, let's get on with that. I love these, you guys, and there are some over on silversilkonline.com that are copper crystal. Oh, wow. They are absolutely beautiful. So if you're looking to kind of take things to the next level with your findings, this is where it's at. I love it. I love that it's the perfect place, right? That flat surface just called for something spectacular, and there definitely is something spectacular there. Okay, so let's get to it. So you're going to need about 12 inches of 24 gauge wire to do this. You can do this with 22 gauge if you want to, but I'm not so sure how it will fit on the inside of the 3-strand end cap. So just stick with the 24 until you play around with it a little bit, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a wrapped loop right at the end. Yes, Nile says, can we get a close-up of the finding? So let me see if I can keep it in focus. How's that looking? You got, look at that. So those are all little individual crystals that have been attached to the finding. And let me tell you, I've been really rough with this guy. I've opened him and closed him more times than I should admit out loud. And those crystals are not going anywhere. Just in case you're wondering, like, this is going to take some wear, right? You don't have to worry that those are coming off. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this little bead the herringbone treatment, and we're not going to do a lot of the herringbone wrapping to this, just a little bit, okay? We're going to come in with our chain nose pliers, and we're going to give this a wrapped loop. And the wrapped loop, we want to do about 6 wraps, so you want to be sure that you give yourself plenty of room here to get all 6 of those wraps, okay? So coming in with the chain nose pliers, we're just going to bend that wire 90 degrees. And now we're going to come in with the round nose pliers, and we're going to go up and over the top barrel of the pliers. And I'm going to do this twice. You don't have to, but sometimes when I'm using a smaller gauge wire, I feel like it makes it a little bit more sturdy. So I just went around the pliers twice. So you can see I doubled up the loop, right? Okay, put that back on the tool. I'm going to switch hands. And I'm going to use this little tail section to wrap around, and we're going to go about 6 times. You don't want to go any more than 6, otherwise you're going to run out of wire doing the herringbone. Okay, so we're only going to do a couple of wraps around this bead just to give it a little extra something. All right, so I'm going to trim that off. Okay, all right, so we have our wrapped loop. Plenty of wraps here, and we're going to thread on our bead. And the great thing about this shape, this diamond shape bead, is that it is very easy to guide the wire along the edge of the bead because it's nice and flat, right? You've got 2 sharp edges. Well, not sharp, but you know what I mean. You've got two good edges that come to a nice sharp point. That's going to make it easier to guide the wire around. If you have a round bead instead, you can still do this exact same technique. It's just, I just find that if you're a beginner with this technique, it's easier if you use a geometric shaped bead, okay? So you've got your 24 gauge wire coming out of the bottom of the bead. Now you want to go, and it makes no difference which direction, we're going to take that wire and bend it upwards along that first edge of the bead, okay? And then I'm going to hold that down with my thumb. And you want it nice and close. See, it's laying nice and flat on the edge surface. And then we're going to bend, because we have a bend in the bead, right? Hold that nice and close to the bead surface. And then we're going to take the tail end of our wire, and we're going in front of all of these wraps. We're going to wrap around to the back and back out to the front. Okay? Go in that direction. So now we need to go down the other side of the bead. Same thing. I'm going to take that wire, laying it across the surface of the bead, right? Nice and flat. We're going to bend right here at the bend in the bead. And now we're down here to the bottom where the wire is coming out of the bead. We're going to go behind the first wrap that we made. Okay? So you see where that wire is exiting. We're going behind, and we're going to continue up the side of the bead. Let me straighten up that wire just a little bit. Going to continue up the side of the bead, going right behind the first wire wrap that we made. Just laying that wire right behind, following the same path up here to the wire wraps. We're going in front of the wire wraps, in front, around the back, back out the front. Okay? Same thing. Now we're going down, and we're going behind the first wrap that we made. Lay it down with your thumb. Bend the wire when the bead bends. Okay? And now we're back down here to the bottom, and we're just going to continue behind the first two wraps, right on up the side of the bead, bend where the bead bends, and then wrap around, coming to the front of the wire wraps, wrap around. Whoops, I let go. Got to hold everything down with your fingers or it'll try to get away from you. Wrap around once or twice, and then you're done. So this is not a ton of the herringbone wire wrapping to this bead. It was just a little extra something to it, and this is a great way to practice the herringbone wrapping without getting fully involved with it, right? You're using the 24 gauge wire, which is nice and soft, so it's easy to work with, and using the geometric bead really kind of helps to guide. You know, I definitely recommend using a bead that has some nice flat edge to it. If you're a beginner with the herringbone, to know if you did it the right way, you just want to look at it on the sides. So one side's going to have 3 wraps and the other side only has 2. Okay? And then you just want to trim your tail off. We're done with that. We had just a little bit left over. Okay? Now, our loop here has gotten turned kind of to the side just a little bit. That's okay because we do want to turn it to the side. So instead of our loop, normally we would want our loop to face us just like this, but what I want is I want that loop to be going side to side. So I'm just going to grab a hold of it with my pliers and give it a little bit of a turn. Okay? So now that loop, whoops, that loop is going this direction. Okay? We're getting the side view of it. All right, so this is ready to go. This is ready. It will fit right into that finding, which I need to open up just a little bit, you guys. I always open it up too much and then things won't stay. So that's going to fit nicely right into, I closed it right back down to where I had it. Okay, it's going to fit right into that middle of the 3-hole finding there. Okay, so that's going to fit, and when we close everything down, it's going to close over the top of that wrapped loop. It's going to act just the same way as the ball would on the end of the ball chain. Okay, so the only thing about doing this is I have a hard time, and I don't know if I'm the only one, but I kind of have a hard time holding everything together. I feel like I need more fingers or an extra hand. So I've got that bead placed in the center hole of the 3-hole finding here, and now I need to attach my ball chain as well. So I want to slide it down on one side and then slide it down on the other side while holding that bead in place too. I just feel like I need more fingers for this part. Okay, but if you get it all in there, if you lay it down flat, I do find that it kind of helps to lay it all flat. That might help to slide everything in. Or you can do the ball chain over the top of the bead and then lay everything out when you get everything situated. So I definitely want to be sure that I get at least 2 of the balls from the ball chain on the inside of that capture chain into the finding. Then you want to come in with your nylon jaw pliers, okay, and you want to give that a good squeeze. And you want to be careful that you don't accidentally lose your capture chain as you're squeezing, because I have a tendency, like I said, I feel like I need more fingers. See, one of them popped out. Let's get that in there. All right, stay put, stay put. And then give it a little squeeze with your nylon jaw pliers. So the crystal end cap, you definitely do not want to use your regular chain nose pliers on this. You don't want to mess up your crystals here. So do use, just like with any of your end findings, I know some of you out there occasionally will cheat, right? And use your regular pliers to close your SilverSilk findings. Don't do that with these. Definitely not. Definitely use your nylon jaw pliers so that you do not rough up the surface of those beautiful crystals, okay? All right, so that's done, right? You give it a good little tug test, make sure that everything is attached, and you've got this really cool earring that's got a lot of different things going on here. So for something that was so easy to do, there's a lot. So you've got the herringbone that's going around that geometric faceted bead. You've got your beautiful Rockstar Capture Chain that's going around the outer edge, and you have your crystal finding. So this is a stunner, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. I think that's a really awesome earring. So now the only thing that we need to do so that we have a beautiful little set here is to add our ear wire to this. And so I'm just going to open up the ear wire. I'm going to thread that through the finding, and we're done. We have two really awesome, very glamorous earrings, right? So now we need a necklace to go with these. So let's keep going. Let's sit our earrings to the side. I'll try these on for you guys here in just a little bit so you can see them because they are super, super cool. And let's create a long lariat style necklace to go with this. So, thank you, Tracy. Tracy says the earring has a lot of visual interest. I totally agree. Oh, thank you, Wanda. Wanda says pretty nails. My fingernails, you guys know I'm in acrylic nail recovery, so I'm trying to cover them up. I'm starting to chip a little bit, but I love this purple color. It's very springy. I've got spring on the brain. All right, so bring in the rest of your capture chain, and this is completely up to you how long you want this necklace to be. We're going to use one of the 2-hole sliders in this dark rhodium, which I absolutely love. You guys, this metal color, I can't even, there are not even words to describe it. This is one of my favorites, the dark rhodium, the hematite. Some people call it like that gunmetal gray. I am super in love with it. It's very classy, if you ask me. Like, I love silver jewelry, but there's just something about that darker metal tone that to me is just, I don't know, it just screams class. It's really, really beautiful stuff. So what we're going to do, essentially, I'm going to show you. We're going to thread this on. I'm going to take it off here in just a second, but just to give you kind of an idea, we're going to thread that on to both ends, and we're just going to pull this down kind of like a bolo, right? So that we've got a loop here at the bottom. This is where we're going to hang our tassel. We're going to make a really long chain tassel to go with this, and then we'll put on our end findings. So I'm just going to set this to the side for just a second, and you're going to need a small piece. Mine is a little bit more than small, but about a 4 or 5 inch piece of some gunmetal, that gunmetal gray or that dark rhodium colored wire. I'm using 22 gauge wire for this. You use whatever you're comfortable using, okay? And I have cut a bunch of pieces of this hematite colored chain, and I honestly don't even remember how many pieces, so let's lay them all out so we can count them up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to say I've got 11, but I'm not positive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How about that? I remembered. All right, so I've got 11 pieces. These are all different lengths. They're not all the exact same length. If you want them to all be the same, then that's fine. Mine are just off by just a few links here or there. But it looks cool either way, so that part's totally up to you. All we're going to do is we're going to thread these on to our piece of 22 gauge wire. We're going to bring it down to the middle, and this depends on how full you want your tassel to be. Mine is kind of a medium fullness tassel, so you can do more of the chain or less of the chain depending on the look that you want. I also have a Swarovski square bead that I've held on to this forever, like forever. And I've just been looking for the opportunity to use it, and I thought this was a really cool place to put it because it is kind of that silvery gray, and it just adds a little extra bling. Who doesn't like a little extra sparkle? So all I did was just wire wrap this with a piece of 22 gauge wire. If you don't want to do this part, just use a larger jump ring, right? A 8mm jump ring, and then a 4mm jump ring, maybe two 4mm jump rings is going to work just as well. All you want is just a little extra bling here that we're going to add to the tassel. So I'm going to thread on about 5 of these pieces of chain, and then we'll thread on that crystal just to add a little extra bling. You can even skip that step if you don't want anything extra on your tassel, because let me tell you, this tassel looks really awesome all by itself. So you don't even have to have that part if you don't want to. So there's 4, there's 5. Since we've got 11, we'll do 5 and 6. So there's several of our pieces of chain, and then I'm just going to go ahead and thread this on so that it hangs kind of in the middle, right? And then we're going to do the rest of the chain pieces. Now with the chain, you can use big bulky chain, and that gives it a totally different look. You could even, instead of using this hematite color, you could use black chain, or you could go with silver and mix it up so that you have the mixed metals going on. I think maybe that's part of the reason why I love that dark rhodium so much, is because you can really go a lot of different ways with it. Like you can keep your entire piece that dark rhodium color, or you can bring your silver in with it and it still looks really good. All right, so I've brought all of the pieces of the chain and our beautiful Swarovski bead down here to the middle, and all we want to do is just loop all this together, right? We're just gonna, and it's not even going to be pretty, and that's okay because we're going to cover this all up. So I'm just kind of bringing the 2 wires together, and I'm going to do a really messy wrap here with one of the sides. I'm not using pliers. I don't even, I'm just, it's messy. That's all you can say. It's just messy. So I'm just going to wrap around a few times, and I don't care what it looks like because it's going to be hidden inside of a bead cap. All right, so I'm just going to trim the tail of that off. Now we still have a lot of tail to work with, a little bit more than we actually need, but that's how I always do things, okay? Some fuzz here. Okay, so now we're ready to top this off with either a tassel topper, a necklace cone, or a bead cap, however you want to cover all of your messy wire and the tops of your chain. I have this, excuse me, this bead cap. I'm not really sure. I don't think this was sold as a necklace cone. I think it really was marketed as a bead cap. It's just a nice little cone. I'm going to bring that down. That's going to cover up all of that mess right underneath. You're not going to see any of that. So bring that down. And then I do want to layer on some beads because I just love the layered look. So I have a large hole bead that has those pave crystals all over it. You can use whatever you want. And then just to bring some more of the Swarovski in, I've got a Swarovski, just a round bead. And I'm going to pop that right on the top as well. And bring that down. And that's going to sit nicely in the top of that large hole bead. Okay, so now we want to create a wrapped loop here at the top to keep everything nice and secure. Bringing in my chain nose pliers, I'm going to grab that wire right as it is exiting that top bead. I'm going to bend it 90 degrees, okay, straighten it out a little bit, and then I am going to come in with my round nose pliers, and I'm going up and over the top barrel of the pliers, okay. I'm going to roll the pliers out of the way and bring that wire on around to the other side. Now, I'm going to switch hands, and I'm going to wire wrap about 3 times, but then I'm going to double back up on this. Just because everything that's going on here is very heavy, I want to chunk up my wire wraps. So the wire wraps that I've already done, I went from the top to the bottom. Now I'm going to go from the bottom to the top and cover up those wraps with one more layer of wraps. Okay, so grabbing that wire and just kind of going over the wraps that we already made, just to kind of thicken it up just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to take it off, and you can see it just adds a little extra, just a little a little chunky to our wire wraps here. And then I'm just going to trim that off. All right, so now we have this really awesome tassel. And I will be completely honest with you, I wished that I had had enough of all of this to do two, so that I had these as earrings. And if that were the case, what I wanted originally to do was, instead of having this hematite chain as the tassel, imagine having the Rockstar Capture Chain as the tassel part. How cool would that have been? So I didn't have enough supplies to do that, but that doesn't mean that you can't. You can take this exact same technique, right? And instead of the hematite chain, just use your Rockstar Capture Chain. And since you can't thread on the ends like you do with chain, I would probably just take it and double it or triple it a few times, right? And then wire wrap and cut my ends loose, right? Or you could leave them just like that, you know, so that you've got one of those tassels, a loop tassel. Those are really, really cool. So a lot of different options here. I don't want you to think that this is just like the only way that you can achieve this look, because it's not. You can use your capture chain in so many different ways, and capture chain tassels are beautiful. So keep that in mind. If you feel like you want to pick up more than one of the packages of the Rockstar Capture Chain, you would have enough to make yourself a really stunning capture chain tassel. Okay, so to put all of this together, we're just going to use a jump ring, and then we're going to put on some of the findings that go with this that are available on silversilkonline.com as well. So I'm going to open up a jump ring here and then thread that on and close that back. Okay, and then I'm just going to thread this on to the capture chain, bring it down to the middle. Right, look how pretty that is. And the Rockstar Capture Chain just does it, right? I mean, it just brings the whole thing together. All right, so now we're going to take the 2-hole slider and we're going to thread that on. So we don't have to use 2 pieces of the capture chain. We're just using 1 piece, and we're separating it out with our slide, right? Bring that down, kind of like a bolo. And then we're going to add our findings to the end. And all of these findings match this capture chain. Okay, so we have the single end caps with the loops on either end. And I've got a jump ring here. I need an extra jump ring actually. And the clasp that is in the same, it's all in the same color. So Nilay's really particular about his findings, and it shows. He picks the absolute best quality, and he makes sure that they all complement the capture chains and the mesh and all of the other SilverSilk products. They all go together really, really well, right? It's tedious work, I can only imagine, but I'm so thankful that he does it that way so that everything makes a cohesive piece. All right, let me grab an extra jump ring, and then we'll put all this together. I'll put it on a neck and show you guys the earrings, and then I'll let you guys go on with the rest of your evening. I hope everybody is well, everybody that's home. I know a lot of us are home these days. I have all 3 of my kids are home, which is totally fine with me. But my husband works for the school system, so he is also home. He's driving me crazy. Does anybody want? I've got an extra husband. He cooks. He's making me crazy. All right, so I've got my end finding. I'm just going to slide that down over the end of my Rockstar Capture Chain, and I'm going to use my nylon jaw pliers to close that over the capture chain. And you want to be sure that you get a good closure on that. You don't want to get one side closed and one of them not, because it'll sneak out on you. Okay, give it the tug test. Be sure you got it on there really, really well. And then you want to do the same thing to the other end. You just want to slide that into the end finding. You guys are laughing. I'm serious, he's making me crazy, because I already work from home, so it's, you know, it's fine for me to be at home, but now there's this other adult in my, well, he's not really in my space, but you know, I still have a routine, and he's like downstairs napping on the couch and eating popcorn and then just randomly asking me things. And I'm like, okay, look, I may not leave the house, but I'm working, and you're just going to have to stay downstairs while I'm working. This is not extra hangout time. No, I know, I'm being mean. He's been very, very sweet. So yeah, that's how we're doing, right? That's how everybody's doing. We're all making adjustments, have the whole family home all at the same time for we don't really know how long. All right, so there are my jump rings and my findings. Everything is ready to go. Everything matches. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, put this on and you can put your hair up and the whole thing matches. I am so in love with that. You've got everything down here on the bottom. You can make this necklace as long or as short as you want it to be. You've got your tassel. You could make your tassel out of your capture chain. And then let's not forget our amazing earrings that go with this as well. So you've got a whole little set. So let me tell you, I'm gonna flip you around, and then I'm gonna give you my 2 cents for the end of the day, right? Because I know a lot of you, sorry about the glare there, I know a lot of you are at home, right? We're all kind of trying to stay home and stay out of other people's space, as we have been instructed to do, and that's great. That's not a hard thing for us to do. Sit at home and like watch jewelry making videos and make jewelry, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let me tell you, as I'm tying this on, just a little chit chat here. So it can be kind of hard if you get in the habit, those of you who work outside the house that are now spending time at home, if you get in, this is jewelry related, I promise. So if you get in the habit of getting up and spending your entire day in your pajamas, right? After about a week of that, you start to not feel so good, you know? So my suggestion with this set that we have, look at this necklace, I love it, I just love it. So my suggestion is, right, okay, we've spent a few days in our pajamas, okay, that's all well and good, but now we are still staying home, but we don't want to feel gross, so get up, get dressed, like fully dressed. Put on those jeans, put on your shirt, put on your jewelry. And put on your Rockstar jewelry, right? Just because we're at home does not mean we cannot be fabulous all over the house, right? So make fabulous jewelry, spend some time making yourself something absolutely fabulous, and wear it. Why not, right? Let's put on these earrings. I'll put on one of these so you guys can see them. All right, you guys have been wonderful as always. Look at that. Yes, I am loving, can you guys see that crystal? I'm loving that. I don't want to get too close. I don't want to give you my cooties. Don't want you to see up my nose, but there you go. So those, oh, I love it. Look how well. So yeah, I might not be leaving the house, but I'm going to look like a queen. That's all I got to say about that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me and putting up with my silly, I know. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening and rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend. You guys stay safe. Try not to go stir crazy if you're at home. If you need anything, reach out to me, reach out to Nile. All of the beading community, we have got your back. We're here for you if you're feeling lonely. We're all here with you, making jewelry. So have a wonderful rest of the night. You guys don't forget, next week, Tuesday Toots with Nile. You guys have a great night. Bye.